Well, welcome. We are in the farmhouse here at Edgewood, BC, at the Universal Ostrich Farm, and the national news is about to report on the. Ooh,
I might have the lens.
is that English? We might be on the wrong channel. Hang on.
It's a native language. It's not even French. Well, it's native.
Yeah, we're getting her sorted out. So here we're at the Universal Ostrich Farm in the farmhouse. If you haven't seen it yet, I'll show you around a little bit. We are waiting for the National to come on. It has got news on the Ostrich Farm. I don't know if they'll be reporting on the emergency stay that was just announced today, thank goodness, and an expedited appeal. We're going to be dealing with all that in the courts here in Ottawa upcoming next month. But just now, is today, we've learned that we have an emergency stay in place. And we're going to find out what's going on. Thanks for joining us. I really appreciate that. I don't know where you're from. If you're from YouTube, thank you. Church of Bubbles thanks you. If you're from Facebook, Jim Kerr thanks you. And if you're from anywhere else in the world, I want to thank you for coming here and checking out what's happening on the front lines of the freedom movement here today in Canada. We're doing the deal, man. I've been on site here for a little bit over 2 months. Been reporting just about every day on the goings-ons here. And in case you don't know, I'll give you a little bit of background. The Universal Ostrich Farm back in December had some sick birds, and that was called into the CFIA, which is the Canadian Food Inspection Agency. This agency checks bio threats and food and all that other kind of stuff. But what they did here was they tested 2 dead birds with a PCR test run at over 35 cycles. Now, I don't know if you know what that means, but it's not a diagnostic test, not supposed to be. And that was the only evidence that the CFIA used in convicting these people of the killing of almost 400 of their ostriches, as well as decimating their family's income, the 35 years they've spent breeding these genetics, and all of the associated things to it. So we're fighting the CFIA on this. We think it's not such a good thing. And, so we're hard at the fight and we're making it happen here. So I think we're here. I'm not going to show you his face. He's a guy who probably won't even be the Prime Minister for much longer. He's on now, but we're here at the farm. There's probably about a dozen of us. And what this means, folks, is that since January, and the CFIA insisting they're going to kill these birds at a time and in a way of their own choosing without giving any notice. This family has been on pins and needles for almost 6 months now. And today they just got a little bit of a reprieve. These animals cannot be killed within the next month. And that's a good thing. And now what we're doing is we're preparing all of the evidence that it takes in order to, prove that these guys are way off the rocker, man. They're employing something called a stamping out policy. Now, I don't know if you know what this is, but basically it's when they find a couple of birds that are sick, what they'll end up doing is they'll just kill them all. So here we are. Tel Aviv's international airport has been a target for missiles. Yeah, these are crazy times here. At the farmhouse, the father is living in there. He has all manner of health issues that the family has to deal with on an ongoing basis, as well as defending themselves against the CFIA. And today we got some good news. The stay orders in. So I don't usually watch the news, but come and watch the news with us, will you? No, unless it's talking about some foreign things that have nothing to do with us. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know how many of you are really cool with our government giving away our money to foreign countries to help them in their wars. It don't make no sense to me. I don't care who the country is. I don't care what the war's for. We don't have... Canada used to be a very, very wealthy country, but unfortunately, the people here that govern the country have raped and pillaged for far too long, and now the Canadians are suffering. Us Canadians are suffering, and the country's not even recognizable the way it was. The way we've traditionally known our country to be a free place where you can work hard and do well. Well, now, the costs are going up. income's coming down, and the government's doing everything they can do to ensure that we're weak, dumb, and not able to fight back. Well, we're at a farm where the farmers decided to fight back, and it seems to be working because the CFIA for the past 6 months have wanted to kill these animals, and they haven't been able to. So because of the court proceedings and the public campaign that we put out that's gone across the world now. If you haven't heard of the Universal Ostrich Farm, you soon will. It's been on all the major news outlets, and now we expect it to accelerate. We've taken this fight to the BC legislature. We've taken it. RFK has weighed in. He's given us sent a letter to the Canadian Food Inspection Agency, and there's follow-ups going on with this as well. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens here.
Israel's UN representative in Geneva was insistent. We expect the European foreign ministers to take a firm stance vis-a-vis Iran.
Oh, more stuff on the news. You don't want to sit here and watch the news, do you? What do you want to talk about? You want to talk about how we can save the world? You want to talk about how maybe we can make a difference? You want to talk about how powerful we individuals are when we stand up and do something, or at least stand behind somebody who's doing something? Well, we're doing it here. It seems to be working. We're making progress, and we're not going to stop until it's done. We don't believe any farm should have to face the culling of their animals without proper testing and without options being provided to the farmers, especially if it's going to eradicate not only all of their flocks or herds, but also their livelihood. So we're looking for those options. We're looking for the differences, and we're going to make sure that you guys know of everything that we're up to as we go through this process. So thank you for being with us. Grapes are good.
The last chance for a negotiated exit. It's Global News, London.
Today, a coalition of leaders representing various
human
rights demanded the federal government declare Israel's war in Gaza a genocide.
Israel's genocide in Gaza must stop. The Canadian government must call it genocide, comply with international law, and demand rapid and unhindered humanitarian access. It's genocide. Name it. Stop it. Sanction it.
The coalition also called on the government to demand an immediate and permanent ceasefire and full access.
This is not about ostriches, but it's coming. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. I'm waiting for a live video here from the news. Not like we really tend to rely on that anyway, but when it talks about the Universal Ostrich Farm, and we've been working on it so hard, we figured that you guys deserve to see it. So sitting here waiting for the news to come out and tell us what's happening with the Universal Ostrich Farm. Do we know what the content of tonight's show is going to be about? Like, do we know what the new... Really? Did you guys talk to them about that already?
Brady said he took a whole bunch of the footage off.
The slide happened at the
Okay, cool. Good. Okay, so it looks like we're waiting for them just to announce the emergency stay here on the news.
Begins just off the highway, and it takes about 4 hours to complete a round trip. Our Jamie Dahl is near the trailhead. So Jamie, that's a
I don't want to keep feeding you with this bad news, man. Somebody got hit with a rock in a rock slide or something. And that doesn't rock. It's kind of crazy. So many things happening these days, folks. It's hard to imagine that all of these different events can be happening simultaneously in our country and around the world. It seems to me that it's a coordinated effort to ensure that that the populations are kept weak, kept down. But I don't subscribe, man. I think there's lots we can do, and by you supporting and sharing this out and helping other people understand what's going on, we can make a difference. And I really appreciate you being here with me. Thank you.
My mum threw the phone in my backpack and ran. It was about 45-50 minutes before we had the helicopters.
I feel like I got to keep you entertained here because it's like we're waiting for the thing to come on. Don't know where you are in the world here, folks. This is in Edgewood, BC. I'll kind of explain a little bit about the Ostrich Farm's location in proximity to everything else. There are trade zones that have been set up to ensure that trade. One of the biggest issues here is that they're afraid, at least the CFIA has stated, that they're afraid it's going to negatively impact trade. Well, that might be the case if this was in a trading zone that shit was shared with other people, but it's not. The whole thing about this particular farm, it's 130 kilometers away from any other commercial poultry facility. And just to be clear, this is not a poultry facility as much as the CFIA wanted to classify it as that. These birds, the ostriches, are millions of years old. They're not considered to be poultry. They're in a classification along with emus. And, there's special treatment. What they're asking here is that the CFIA evaluate each case on a case-by-case basis instead of applying a blanket policy to all of them without considering the ramifications of that policy. And the judgment that we got today from the judge clearly said that there was going to be irreparable harm done to this family, not only their livelihood, because it would be gone, but also all of the genetics in the birds that have been, the family's life work. So, there's a lot at stake here, folks, because it doesn't stop here. Okay, we're talking about every single farm or any facility. If you have a small hobby farm and you've got a couple of horses and a couple of dogs, and somebody sees one that's sick, on the mere suspicion that it may have some kind of contagious thing, the CFIA can come in and kill them all. Yes, that means your family pets. That means any of the animals on your land. As a matter of fact, there's a thing going on in BC right now where they have changed the laws so that by law can literally jump fences and come in, inspect anything at any time, and then take corrective action. That's scary precedence, folks. I think private property is that way for a reason. And we're going to be attacking all angles of this and see what happens here.
The vote is actually taking place right now.
Bill C5.
Looks like it is going to pass for Bill C5. It's been split into two parts. The first part has already passed. That's about interprovincial trade barriers. That passed with all party support except the Green Party. But the real controversy is about a second part of the bill that deals with naming big national projects. And it looks like the Liberals are going to be able to pass this with the support of the Conservatives. Now, the controversy over this bill has been around the fact that it gives powers to the federal cabinet to determine specific projects that would be in the national interest. They would be named, and once they are named, there'd be certain laws that the Liberal cabinet, not Parliament, cabinet, would be able to exempt these national projects from. In particular, environmental laws. Now, originally, it was going to be every law that Parliament has passed, the Liberals were attempting to give themselves the power to exempt projects from. Conservative amendments, which are included in this bill, have significantly reduced that, meaning the Criminal Code, Conflict of Interest Act, and the Indian Act now cannot be exempted from these laws. The Indian Act, of course, is important in this situation because there has been a lot of pushback from Indigenous people who say that there could be lawsuits and protests over potential projects once they move forward with this. Now, there has also been pushback from Liberal MPs, and there has been one Liberal MP who has voted against this, Nathaniel Erskine Smith. He's a Toronto area MP, and he stood up in the House of Commons, Jeff, and said that if the Conservatives brought this bill forward, if Stephen Harper had brought this bill forward, the Liberals would be screaming that this was not properly done because Mark Carney has pushed this through on the last day that the House of Commons is sitting. There's been very limited debate, less than a week. That's not something that we normally see with a bill of this nature. And now, of course, this goes over to the Senate, where it's expected to be voted on next week, Jeff, before the summer break takes place here in Ottawa.
All right, Mackenzie Gray in Ottawa. Thanks, Mac. Celebrating Pride in Canada coming up. We'll tell you how this country is supporting the LGBTQ2 plus community.
How this country is supporting the LBG2 123 675 6943. And now to a paid commercial. I remember now why I don't watch TV. It really does suck your brain and soul. It really does. I mean, we're covering the news, watching the news here because it does pertain to the Ostrich Farm. But man, the media is not our friends necessarily. I can't believe there is a farmer cattle farmer in Ontario. You got to look this guy up. He just recently had one of the agencies come in and take all his cows down, and they broke a bunch of legs in the process. And then because he was uttering threats, they threw him in jail. They come in to kill all of your animals. You utter a threat, you get thrown in jail when you were the one who caused animals to get damaged in the process of, taking them out of there. Crazy stuff, man. Crazy stuff. And we can't sit back and watch it, man. We got to do something about it. So thank you for joining me as I'm trying to do something about this. We all, every single one of us have the ability to do something about something. Okay, when we're on these, when we're on the internet, we see information that we see is valuable.
This is crazy. No, it's like, look at this. It's on the global. Everybody knows about it. Winds, a stay order, Western Standard, Vancouver Sun. We're in the Halifax Farmer.
Boy, that happened 2 hours ago.
Oh my gosh.
Sheesh. So it is all over the news, folks. If you want to look this up, it's the Universal Ostrich Farm in Edgewood, BC. Check out all the news right now on the interwebs because, it's lighting up with the good news that we just received today. Now, that doesn't mean they're off the hook. Unfortunately, in a month's time, well, if they get good rulings as we go forward, which we're anticipating based on the fact that they're going to be able to submit a lot of evidence they never were able to submit the first time around, because they've been in courts here for several months. And what happened was on the final day of submissions the last time, the farm's lawyer was to have half of the day to put his arguments forth, and the other half was to be given to the ones that were trying to charge them. But what ended up happening was they only got 1/4 of the time, so they didn't get to submit half of their material. And this is going to give them an opportunity to be able to submit all of that material and get a proper trial, which is, that's what it's about, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, buddy. Cool. We're still here. All right, folks. I don't know how much longer I can watch this news. I want to thank you for joining me. We're gonna keep you tuned on all this. Thank you for joining me. We'll talk to you later. I know, end it that way, right? Kind of sucks. Sometimes when you're live, man, you gotta do what you gotta do. All right, see ya.